I thought it was an exciting speech. The governor talked about challenging times, and I thought he brought forth challenging solutions. And I think he also pointed out, and as he has done so many times, that you do the same old things in the same old ways, you get the same old results. And I think his speech was a lot about reform. It was a lot about rethinking government, particularly in the tax and regulatory area. There's no question that we have to do that if we're going to regrow, if you will, prosperity in Minnesota. So I'm enthused about the governor's plan, and I look forward, at least on our side, to moving forward with it through the rest of the session. And I think his plan today will challenge all of us, to think within this system of government. And as we go forward now to think about how we really grow prosperity, because that has to be the mission of every one of us up here. So I'm excited. I'm going to turn it over to Senator Michel, or pardon me, let's just go to the minority leader in the House here. But I'm excited about the fact that the governor, I think, has set a tone here for the rest of the legislative session, and that tone is all about growing jobs. And that's the most critical thing in Minnesota right now.
I'll be brief. I know the senators may have to go upstairs for a vote. The one thing, again, with the jobs climate and listening to business owners, again, it was, I didn't take offense as a legislator down here that the solutions aren't going to come from us, but come from those that start jobs. The thing we heard over and over as Super Dave and I have been around the state, going to meetings, meeting with job providers, the people that sign the front of the check, not just the back of the check, have said the same thing. Get out of our way, get off our back, and let us do what we do. You give us the freedom to go out and provide new jobs, make sure that we don't have this, and it's an epidemic of, almost a cataclysmic proportion of uncertainty, the anxiety of not knowing what cap and trade will cost, the federal health care bill, any of the things that may happen here with the regulations. The health care plans say there's 5 new mandates out there in bill form for this legislative session. If you're going to try to keep health care costs down, adding 5 new mandates is only going to add to the price. So what job providers have said to us is just, if nothing else, just calm the waters. Go down there, and as one guy said, my doctor always tells me they take this oath to do no harm. This business owner said to us, go to the Capitol and do no harm. If you can make it a little bit better, that'd be great. But the first and foremost thing is do no harm. And I'm going to let Senator Michel take a quick crack, because they might have to run upstairs to vote.
Good afternoon. You know, just a quick aside, as we saw Tim Pawlenty's, what I think will be his last State of the State, he's a force. He's the smartest guy in the room, and we are going to miss him. I am very confident that he will help bring us all together. I was sorry to hear the end of that last press conference. It started to get a little chippy already. You can tell when we've been inside the dome for too long. But I thought the governor's address set a great tone, talked about jobs, and I sure saw him reaching his hand out to the legislature, to the House and the Senate majorities. And we, as the minority party, will help him in that. I wanted to especially emphasize the jobs creation bill that he talked about, that he is teeing up. Senator Koch and I are going to work on the various pieces of that bill, from the constitutional amendment to the tax cuts to the tax credits. And we've already had discussions with Senator Metzen and others. The bill will probably be a couple different pieces, at least on the Senate side, but that absolutely should be our priority. We are here to try to create the conditions to create jobs. I mean, literally, just 2 days ago, as we were passing that too large bonding bill, a credit rating agency was putting us on a negative outlook. The people who do the math look at Minnesota state budget and Minnesota state debt and are raising a red flag. So we need to get about our business. I thought the governor teed it up well today, and we look forward to working with him.
No, let's do questions.
Okay, let's do questions.
Senator Michel, could you give us an idea of how much these tax credits are going to cost?
I can't. I'm waiting for a fiscal note on that. The governor's supplemental budget will come out on Monday, as I understand it, but it will be paid for. It will be paid for, Tom.
So you're willing to adopt it without knowing how much it will cost? Isn't that what Republicans generally accuse Democrats of?
Yeah. Today, Rachel, we are taking up some kind of a GAMC fix. We went into session at 8:30 this morning, and we got a bill amendment at 8:50. There's no fiscal note on it. So yeah, we're going to raise alarms, but we have been working with the governor's office. We have a sense of, you know, there's multiple pieces to that bill. There's a reduction in the business income tax. It's a great idea. Senate Republicans in the past have pushed for an outright repeal. And you can phase that out over a number of years to move the costs around. And it includes an exclusion for small businesses, an angel investment tax credit. A piece of that has already started to move through Senate committees, an R&D credit. So there's multiple pieces here. I don't want to pretend that we've got all the details set, but we will have that by Monday.
When you say it will be paid for, what do you mean by that?
It'll be paid for with cuts.
Minority Leader Zellers?
Yes.
You obviously heard.
We got to vote.
Sorry, everyone.
Bye.
I love you.
Yeah. Knock 'em dead, guys. Thanks.
Leader
Yes, Marty.
Zerdich mentioned that state economist Tom Sensen says that there was 5 times the job losses from the governor's unallotment. In response to that?
Well, I think if you go to the state economist's comments, that it's really not fair to compare it the whole way. It wasn't an apple-to-an-apple comparison. If you go through the entire, actually all of what he said, it's not really fair to compare the same two. Again, if you want to look, as Senator Michel said, look at some of the bond houses. When you get a shot across the bow about how much your debt you're carrying, how much you're spending, no offense to the state economist, he's a wise and learned man. I enjoyed listening to him many, many times about our state's economy, but the folks that are going to be giving us that good rating, whether we get the preferred rating or we get the not so good credit rating rate, I think that's very important.
You talk about going around the state to the business leaders, get out of our way. And I'm wondering if they're specific. I don't suspect they want you out of the way of the sewers, the streets, the police, the schools.
Sure.
What do they want you out of the way of?
Sure. I'll give you an example. We had in Plymouth last week. Adam is a contractor. Nice guy. Came into the meeting. He said, I just wanted to come in and listen. We ended up asking him more questions than he asked us. But he pays somebody one day, sometimes, maybe 2, to literally drive from government building to government building getting signatures. And I said, that doesn't seem like a really good use of your time or your money. He said, if I don't pay Larry to go to each and every one of these government offices picking up signatures, in the past it's meant a 30 to 90-day delay in the project. Because it sits on somebody's office, again, because we're a hand-to-paper business down here. They have to go in, get the signature, then go back, then go to the next office, get the signature. He said it's 8 stops. I know if I pay Larry to do this for a day, I get all 8 signatures or 9 signatures. He goes, we found out one time we needed a 9th signature. He said, I've got a project in northern Minnesota that's now not buttoned up, so to speak. The outside of the building isn't finished so that the inside can be worked on all winter. He said, so that building up north is sitting there wide open with plastic around it. He said, but nobody could work inside during the winter. He said, that's what we're talking about. He said, from my standpoint, he goes, personally, and we had one of the speakers we had yesterday at the Humphrey Institute, I mentioned that to him. He said, oh yeah, that's a cottage industry in Chicago. So business has figured out we can't change it, we can't make it better, so we'll just go around it. For me, that was that was a sad, sad day. You got to pay somebody just to go from government building to government because we're not efficient or effective enough in 2010 to say. And this wasn't, Chet's House of Contracting. This was a major contractor that's got several millions of dollars worth of contracting projects in our state saying, I'm all for, he said, I'm happy to provide you all employees, all of our OSHA stuff, anything we want to know about our business and how we're running the state, he said. But each and every time, he said, as a business, he said, per project where we're working on the actual site, that's fine, he said, but each and every time I go in, I have to go and do all this, basically saying, yes, we're a good company, we're here in good faith, we've done all the necessary, signed all the stuff. He said, each and every time, he said, it means money to me. He said, it means money to the people who are paying for our projects. He said, it means money off our bottom line. He goes, I can't hire more employees if I got to hire Larry just to drive from office to office. So that's Adam was very specific with us. It's a great example. And what we would like to do then is have, kind of a pre-qualifying so that when you come in, you only have to make one stop and make government, the folks that we're supposed to, yes, chalk the field, make sure everybody's going to play safe, play by the rules. But then once we've done that, then the business owner doesn't have to run from building to building getting signatures.
Is that something that could have been taken care of before in Pawlenty's term? He's talked about online permitting and online licensing.
I'm not sure. In some cases, some of these are also municipalities, so it's at the city or county level as well. I'm all for leaving things at the local city and county level, but if it's going to mean that on a statewide basis we're delaying work projects, then maybe we do have to step in and encourage, or if we can give them the model, so to speak, you know, here's the website, here's how we run it at the state, at the Commerce Department, you should adopt it, or we'll give you help you with the software, the program, whatever it may be, at least to help bring everybody up to speed, because it is in those counties, especially in a rural county, it's in their best interest to get the projects done and built and productive as well.
Is there anything in today's speech that you heard that you think is a slam dunk in the legislature?
I think of all 201, each of us has said the word angel investment tax credit 5 times. I think we all probably we'll have tattoos by the end of the session with angel investment tax credit. I think it's a good thing, and it's
have a bill on making the unallotments permanent.
You know, the governor's asked about that, or that was at our very first meeting was about. As I said in the past, if they're willing to give us the gavel, sure, we'll take over and run the place. But we're 47, they're 87. In the Senate, it's a lot bigger number, so we'll let the majority lead. We're always willing to offer amendments in the House. I think many of you in here have seen the hours and hours of amendments. We offer suggestions, we think, to help make a better bill a little bit better, a good bill better. But we'll make sure, you know, whatever the governor asks, we'll be happy to help out with his agenda.
On ratifying the unallotments, if you just said that the majority has to lead, they didn't seem predisposed to agreeing to that, so does that mean it's dead on arrival?
No, I don't think so. And I think it's also a little tongue-in-cheek to say that these are permanent. This is never going to be repaid. I think 17, 18, you know, almost 20 other times we've done this shift. It's always been paid back. It's not always been paid back right away, but it's been done in the past. So I don't think to say that it's never ever going to happen. This is the one time it's not going to happen when even the school districts, if you talk to them, will say, well, look, we know, we understand you're in tough times. It's happened before, it'll happen again.
What about the education takeover for the mayors of Minneapolis, St. Paul? Democrats didn't shoot it down, but they were surprised. They thought it kind of came from nowhere. Do you know the background on that?
I don't, but I'm in favor of it, especially, you know, as a local control. I stood with Mindy Greiling to say that Minnesota wanted to opt out of No Child Left Behind. I don't think those of us up here telling, you know, folks at the local level what to do, and if that's what Minneapolis and St. Paul have asked for especially, I'm all for it.